So faithfulness matters. Faithfulness is not automatic. Faithfulness is not easy. To live a faithful life will require courage and boldness, diligence, and focus. We don't live in a faithful world. We live in the midst of an unfaithful world. That means that faithfulness has to be chosen. You have to choose faithfulness. There are great enemies of faithfulness all around us. I wonder this morning, do you recognize the enemies of your own faithfulness? I mean, if you long to be faithful to the Lord, what are the enemies that you're having to do battle with every day? I know this, if your eye is on faithfulness, if you desire to be faithful, then you're very much aware of the enemies of your own faithfulness. You know what you're struggling with. What are some of the enemies of faithfulness? Well, discontent is an enemy of faithfulness. Can't be faithful if you're always discontent, always looking for something more, always looking for something new, always looking for something different. That doesn't lead to faithfulness. Spiritual laziness is a great enemy of faithfulness. Can't be faithful if you're lazy. Spiritual apathy is a great enemy of faithfulness. Faithful people care. I mean, just think of it in other realms of life. Think for just a moment, just in the material realm. Think about people that you have to rely on. Do you like to rely on people who don't really care? Don't really care about their responsibilities, don't really care about your interests. If you lead a business of some sort and you have to entrust responsibility to someone, do you say, now let me choose the guy who cares the least? No, you find someone who cares. Apathy is a great enemy of faithfulness. Compromise. Faithful people are not compromised people. And so as we live in a world full of sin, with all the temptations that sin offers, if you're going to live a faithful life, you cannot compromise with sin. But interestingly enough, one of the greatest enemies of faithfulness, we may not immediately associate with sin, and yet it's spoken of again and again in the Bible, and that is weariness. Weariness is a great enemy of faithfulness. When you give in to being spiritually tired. You need energy to live this life for Christ. You need to be zealous. So don't be lazy in the realm of zeal. Do you lack zeal this morning? Do you care if you lack zeal? Or are you lazy when it comes to the matter of zeal? If you have it, you do, and if you don't, you don't. I want to warn you this morning, church, that all of these enemies of faithfulness, they're contagious. All of these enemies of faithfulness, they're poisonous. They spread. The reason why they're catching, if you sit in a congregation and there begins to be in that congregation a spirit of spiritual laziness or apathy or compromise with sin, do you understand? That is a danger to you. And the reason why that turns out to be a danger for all of us is those things accord with our flesh. Flesh doesn't mind being lazy. The flesh doesn't mind being apathetic. The flesh will compromise with sin. The flesh will give in to its weariness. So we need to be alert to the fact that, as our parents may have told us on certain occasions, we're not called to be a thermometer. We're called to be a thermostat. You ever heard that? We don't just respond to the temperature around us. We set the temperature. That's what God calls us to do.